Hey y'all, and welcome back to Sweet Pea and Peony's Designs. I'm Jennifer, and in today's video I'm going to show you how I made this beautiful inspirational tumbler with floral waterslide decals. All of the products that I use will be listed and linked in the description box below. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. That really lets me know that you're liking the projects that I'm putting out for you guys. Also, hitting the notification bell will ensure that you never miss another video from me. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're starting out with a 20-ounce camper mug from Craft Haven. I've sanded it with a 60 grit sanding block and base painted it white with Rust-Oleum flat white spray paint. Now I'm going to go ahead and mix 5 milliliters of epoxy. I'm using Alumilite's Quick Coat, and this is just like an adhesive to be able to apply our glitter. I'm going to use my heat gun to heat up my tumbler. That way it's going to make spreading my epoxy on my tumbler a lot easier, a lot smoother, and that's going to allow me to not use as much epoxy. I did mix up 5 milliliters, but I don't want to use it all. If you use too much of your epoxy when you go to apply your glitter, you run the chance that your epoxy is going to pool over that glitter, and you will be able to tell when you add your other layers of epoxy. So use as little as possible, making sure if you're using a mug that you really focus on the handles. Sometimes it can be a little tricky to get in to the crevices of those handles underneath. Also, get the bottom, get the top, make sure everything's pretty covered nice and easily. After I cover it all, I'm going to let it sit for a few minutes and just self-level. Epoxy is self-leveling, and I want to make sure any lines that I may have created when I spread this epoxy level out. That way, when I go to apply my glitter, you will not be able to see the lines in the epoxy. I'm using Galadriel from Peachy Olive Glitters, and because I'm only using one glitter, I do not have to worry about blending anything together or anything like that, so I'm literally just dumping this glitter on. Focusing on that handle, make sure I get nice good coverage on the inside of that handle as well. After that, you'll see in a second, I didn't have any parchment paper, so I used like packing paper that had, I guess, like a waxy finish. I use that to really get my glitter to lay flat. This is a chunkier mix. It's not like super duper chunky, but it does have some chunky pieces. So I want to make sure that it's laying flat. And you can see right there, I'm just taking that paper and pressing all of it down around the entire cup. That's going to make applying our epoxy layers later on a lot easier. So after the 4-hour dry time, I'm going to go ahead and add my first layer of epoxy. I was showing y'all how I do it. I get 2 medicine cups. I want 30 milliliters total, so I took a Sharpie and marked off 15 mils on each of my medicine cups, and that's how much of my part A and part B I'm going to put into those 2 cups. So right now I'm just squeezing it in there. Then I will transfer one of my parts to the other and mix it all together. I know this might seem like a waste, but I've tried doing it where I put part A and then part B on top. And I don't know, I just never mix it right and it never cures right. So I just do it this way, but do whatever makes it easier for you. So then I'm going to go ahead and pour them together. You'll see me do that in a second. I can't remember which one I want to pour in which one. That's what's going on there. I always try and pour the thicker one into the thinner one. That way they mix a little bit easier. I find that easier. So I'm going to go ahead and mix them together. I want to show y'all kind of what it looks like when you start mixing, because when you pour these separately, they're nice and clear. And then when you pour them together, see, it's clear. And as I start pouring, you can see that it gets cloudy. You know your epoxy is all mixed together when it's not cloudy anymore. So that's what you want. I'll show it to you in the next clip when it's all mixed together. So I just go in a circular motion, making sure I'm scraping around the sides and the bottom. And usually I set a timer for 5 minutes to make sure it's all mixed together. If I look at it and I see any cloudy ribbons still in it, I keep mixing until they're gone. So that's what it looks like when it's fully mixed. It's not cloudy anymore. And then I'm just going to go ahead and apply this around the entire cup, making sure I get the top rim, the bottom rim, inside that handle. I will show y'all in a second how I get the handle. This turner that I'm using is one of those fast motored ones. So it spins a lot quicker than some other ones. So I definitely have to stop my turner to get epoxy around the handle. That's what I'm doing right there. And I'm focusing underneath where the handle meets the mug and everything like that. And then when I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and just torch the mug and make sure that I don't have any micro bubbles in my epoxy. And I just use a little kitchen torch. I've used the big propane torches. See, that's the kitchen torch. I've used the big propane torches, and I don't know, I think I go too much with it, y'all, and I end up getting a lot of fish eyes. So this cup now has 3 coats of epoxy on it because I did have that chunkier glitter. I felt more comfortable adding that 3rd coat, but now I'm gonna go ahead and sand the rim of it and just get any of the epoxy off and clean up that rim and establish a nice good seal for our epoxy. So I'm taking my craft knife and just running it on top of the rim of the cup to get any of the epoxy that's kind of dripped over off. And then you'll see in a second how I'm gonna sand the rim of my cup. We wanna create a nice good seal for our epoxy to adhere to the top of our cup. So I hope I got this in frame a little bit better, but I'm basically taking my sanding block at an angle and I'm just sanding a small amount of the epoxy and stuff below the rim. So there's going to be a nice small little sliver of stainless steel right over the edge of your cup. That is where our next layers of epoxy are going to adhere to our tumbler. I'm also going to get the rim of the bottom of the cup. I tend to have a lot of issues with like the glitter being pokey there. So I spend a lot of time sanding the bottom rim. I know a lot of people will not epoxy the bottoms of their cups to avoid this, which I have done before, but sometimes I just want to epoxy the whole cup, you know what I mean? So after that, I went ahead and washed it in the sink with dish soap like Dawn and water, and now I'm ready for my decal. So I got this decal from Brittany Barnes Boutique. She has it on her Facebook group. So join that. She is an amazing Tumbler artist. I love watching her YouTube channel. So check that out as well. This is the only person I've ever seen have this decal. I wanted it in a different font, so I did make this myself, but I got the idea and the wording and everything from her. So like I said, check out her Facebook group. You can get her decal there. Check out her YouTube. She's great. So I just did this on Cricut Design Space. It's a decal with an offset. I applied the gold on top of the black, and now I'm just transferring it on to my tumbler. And you can kind of see how I did that. I hinged it. I applied it on one side and then took the backing off on the other side. Our floral design is a water slide decal from Creative Fabrica. I'll explain Creative Fabrica in a second. So as you can see, I put our water slide decal in the water and I'm letting it sit there for about a minute. When you do a water slide decal, after you print the design, make sure that you're sealing it. I used Rust-Oleum clear spray paint. I sprayed it about 4 or 5 times. Make sure that you let each layer dry before you spray the next layer. If you don't seal it or you don't seal it enough, when you go to apply your water slide in the water, your ink will literally bleed off of the water slide. So make sure you're sealing it. As you just saw, I put some water on my tumbler because you do need to have your tumbler wet before you apply this water slide decal. So it's ready. The clear water slide is coming off of the backing. I am holding the right side with my right hand and just pulling the backing from underneath the water slide. As you can see, you can still manipulate it. You can still move it around because our tumbler is wet. And once you get it wherever you want it placed, go ahead and use a squeegee tool or a paper towel and just kind of dab it, or with the squeegee tool, squeegee out the water from underneath. This does need some time to dry, so you can't epoxy it right after this, but you want to squeegee it. Make sure you get the water out, but make sure you're also being very delicate. I find water slides, at least the brand that I use, they can rip and crinkle very easily. And if you crinkle it, then sometimes your design gets messed up. On this particular design, it doesn't really matter, but on some designs, if you crinkle it, you're going to have to reprint it and do it all over again. So just be delicate with it because I feel like they are delicate. So I'm squeegeeing again, just making sure that everything all the water gets out from underneath it. I had a little bit of the clear part, like too much of the edge of the decal hanging over, so that's why you see me kind of cutting. So I'm cutting a little bit of the water slide off because it hung too low down on the cup, and then earlier it was overlapping my black and gold decal, so I just cut it to make sure my water slide lays flat on my tumbler and dries correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and show y'all. Right now I am kind of just playing around with placement to make sure I like the way it looks. I'm going to go ahead and show y'all one more water slide decal, but I do apply the other one as well. I just don't show y'all that in the video. So Creative Fabrica. Creative Fabrica has a bunch of different fonts, designs, a whole bunch of stuff on it. It's a great resource for tumbler makers or other crafty people to be able to go and get different designs and, like I said, fonts. So right now, at the time that this video is being recorded, they're offering a deal where you can get a membership for $1 for the first month, and then I believe it goes to, I think, $19 after that. You can cancel at any time, but with your membership you can download unlimited fonts, designs, anything that they have, and it also comes with a commercial license. So if you're making a tumbler for someone, you have commercial license to use that design and sell the tumbler with it on there. So I think it's a great deal. Like I said, that's where I got this from. I went ahead and signed up for the $1 membership, and I'm really impressed with all the different designs and everything that's on there. So I'll have that linked in the description box below if y'all want to check it out. I'm sure you'll find some really awesome designs on there. I just applied that second decal, and then after that I applied the third one in the same way. So I am done with the water slide. It dried for 12 hours, and then I realized that I didn't sand the rim, I didn't sand the handle when I was sanding the rim. So this does not have a layer of epoxy over it, so I am being very careful as I'm sanding this handle before I apply my next coat. After I sanded it, I went and washed just the handle very carefully with water and dish soap. Let that dry, and now I'm applying 30 milliliters of Alumilites plus epoxy. It just has UV stabilizers in it, so this white cup is going to stay white and not turn yellow. And this needed to dry for about 24 hours. It does have a longer dry time, but the fact that it's going to keep this cup really white is worth the dry time. So after I was finished applying the epoxy to the entire tumbler, I hit it with my kitchen torch for any micro bubbles, let it dry for the 24 hours, and I did not need a second coat on this tumbler. Y'all, this is my favorite tumbler that I've made so far. I love the inspirational quote, the beautiful floral water slide decals, and this glitter is my favorite. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I had so much fun making this tumbler. If you enjoyed watching this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss another video from me. From here on out, I will be uploading every Saturday, so be on the lookout for that. I also have a Facebook group, Sweet Pea and Peonies Designs. I will link it in the description box below so y'all can check it out and join the community. I hope y'all have a great day, y'all. Bye.